everyone, welcome back to another amazing episode of Foster Talks. And today I have an author who has been doing amazingly well over social media, who continuously keeps going out of stock on Amazon because her books keep selling a lot, and who is running around India right now, running, flying, driving, I have no idea, who's going all around trying to get her book to more and more people. A poet turned author. Yes. A micro poet turned author. Today I have with me Shuchi Batra here at Foster Talks. Shuchi, welcome to Foster Talks.
Thank you.
Happy to have you here. How are you feeling?
I'm very, very happy.
You're living in US and you're
Yes.
in India currently.
Yes.
How's the climate? How's everything treating you?
It's very hot, but I live in Las Vegas. That is a desert. So the weather is okay, but the traffic is too much. So that's a bit.
Okay.
And but I've been traveling all across the India. So I've been to Pune, Bangalore, Mumbai. Sorry, I'm going tonight. Calcutta and Jaipur. So it has been very hectic last few days.
Yeah.
So I came only for 10 days. And out of 10 days, 8 days I've been traveling.
Hectic
Yes.
indeed. Well, now that you're telling me you're doing so many things in
Yes.
order to get your books more and more out there, but you have a very interesting career. You have a great, very interesting background. You've been in finance, you've been in full-time professions, you've been writing micro poetry for such a long while, and now you are an author. That's a lot of things that you are handling. Plus, you have a family back there in US, so you have those responsibilities as well. So how has this journey entirely been like for you?
Yeah, so to be honest, I started poetry when I was just 8 years old.
Lovely. Wow.
I started writing on random subjects, and I would irritate my family to give me some topics where I can do.
Okay.
Then it was on and off, but at the age of 10, I actually lost my father.
Okay.
And that was the time when I feel the poet inside of me was born. Because there would be some times when, people would ask me some tricky questions. Where's your father? Why are you living with your maternal grandparents or mama, mommy and all? And for all those questions, I did not have an answer. So I would go back home. I took out my diary. I started writing letters to my father, letters to God.
Okay.
And then slowly and steadily, I started writing poetry to express my emotions.
Yeah.
That went on, and I believe that was till I was in grade 10th. And then came the real pressure that boards hain, 10th plus 12.
Yes.
And I always wanted to be an engineer since a very young age. When I was in grade 2, my father was an engineer. So it stayed in my mind that one evening he just told me that one day I want you to be an engineer.
Okay.
And by grade 8th, I knew I have to be an engineer. When I was in grade 12th, I knew after engineering, I have to do an MBA.
Wow.
So I had all these. Poetry was going on.
Okay.
I never thought that I can take up as a profession because none of my family members has ever been into this line.
Yes.
Then life happened. I went to IIM Indore, got an international placement, moved to Dubai, stayed there for 8 years. I'm a banker.
Yeah.
So I worked across different segments of credit card business. Then my husband thought that we should move to the US for betterment of our career. Then I had to do a second MBA. So I was very busy preparing for that.
Of course.
Then year 2021 came in when one of my best friends, she told me that you keep on cribbing, that you want to be an author or poet. And to be honest, I have never read any of your poetry.
Okay.
So why don't you open up an Instagram channel? So that day I opened up my Instagram channel. I tried and tested few content.
Okay.
Then I understood that people's attention span is very limited. And they just want few lines.
Yes.
And because there are so many content creators out in the market.
Course.
So there came that I started writing micro poetry.
Okay.
So what I'll do, I would write a lengthier poetry, but I would post just the 4 lines or the 5 lines.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So you're not writing just that 4 lines?
No.
Ah, okay.
So,
Never knew that.
Yeah, it's a full poetry,
Yes.
and then I would pick up some 4-5 lines and I would post that.
Okay.
That gained traction.
Crazy.
Then I remember within 6-7 months, I got 50,000 followers.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Right? And those people themselves started telling me, why don't you write a novel? It would be so good to read all these micro poetries.
Yes.
Then I wrote my first novel 1,000,000 times over.
Lovely.
And then I got very busy.
Okay, again.
With my MBA.
Yes.
I went to USC.
Yes.
And so it was very tough, and I actually stopped. I was just managing the content on my Instagram page and nothing more.
Okay.
Now I'm settled in Vegas. I work as a banker there. So now once I got the job, I was settled. I thought that now is the time that I will start working on my second novel. But this time, a lot of people have told me that instead of lots of, like, poetries are good, but it would be amazing if you can add more prose.
Yes.
So then this book came out, You Belong With Me.
That's a question also I actually had in mind, because you've had a good poetry background. Now hearing your story all the way from age 8, you've been writing poetry. But then this book is not a poetry. Yes, it has nice, amazing short poems in a lot of these chapters. But how was the transition like? Like from a poetry to writing actual full-fledged novel, that transition would have been huge, right? So as a writer, as a creator, I would say, how has that transition been for you?
So it was very easy for me because I am very, very talkative.
Okay, yeah, we can see that.
Even when I used to write exams, my teachers would cut my marks because it would be specifically character limited.
Oh yeah.
I would go beyond that. I would fill up all the pages, and I had an issue doing like writing anything in concise manner.
Okay.
Whenever my husband talks to me, he sets up an alarm or a timer because he's very busy. He's a consultant. We talk just 2 minutes a day. So he's like, 1 minute is for you, 1 minute for me. In 1 minute, whatever you want to tell me, just tell me. So I have to give him pointers. But then there came an opportunity that I have to write.
Actually elaborate. Tell everything that you have to tell.
So it was like, oh my God,
nice.
This is what I want to do.
Nice.
And I chose the format where the main character is writing his emotions in diary.
Yes.
So that was what I always used to do.
You used to always do when you were a kid. How you started writing.
Yes. Yeah. So it became very enjoyable, and it became very easy.
Yeah.
And this book actually is related to the real characters.
Yeah.
So the storyline and everything was very clear to me. So that's how it beautifully.
Amazing. Wow. So how are you feeling now that you, from a poet, being a micro poet, you've written a novel, and it's just been 3 weeks, and the book is doing amazingly well. I mean, I was not joking when at the start and I was saying the book is going out of stock, because people are ordering it. You can see your rankings on Amazon. It's doing great. Well, how do you feel about all of this? Were you expecting that the book will really do this well? What are you exactly feeling? Like, honest opinion.
Yeah, so I always have dreamt that one day I'll be a poet, and this is not something that I'm doing for monetary purpose or anything. I just love writing poetries, and I love when people come to me and tell me that, how do you know that this is exactly what I'm going through and all. So I never thought that this book would do well, but always at the back mind, I knew that something, whichever way, or maybe the third book or the fourth book, if I write, it will click with the audience.
Interesting,
because I always write based on my personal life experiences and based on talking to different people. And so I will not say that I thought that this would go stock out, but I always maybe had a dream.
Yeah, maybe let's call it the power of manifestation.
Maybe that it will be on airports, people would love it.
Exactly, and you go around the country signing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's the wow moment for any author, right? So now that you were telling that you have written a lot of things from your personal experience. Well, now for You Belong With Me, the book has a lot of themes around love. There's heartbreak, there's self-healing. So I'm just curious. So So because you said a lot of things is based out of personal experience as well, how much of you can we find in the book? And how has it affected you or impacted you? Because writing something really personal it takes courage. You need to be brave to be able to do that. So how has your experience been in like putting it out? It's not writing on your journal anymore.
Yes.
You know that a lot of people are going to read this. So how has this journey been for you?
So I believe that if I have to write something, it would be some imagination, but most of the content would be something around me. So I thought that why not about my life, because I had a very dramatic life till I was 25, 26 before I got married.
I should smile for it or show a straight face.
So I remember, so my husband always used to tell me, whatever could have happened in anyone's life, it has happened in your life. So I had a very dramatic life. So I thought it would be a fun thing because and it also would have happened in other people's lives also, because I remember whenever I would tell some people about, okay, this has happened, so they would also say, oh my god, this exactly happened. So I thought that writing something personal would also align with lots and lots of people. So, and I haven't gone ahead and shared so much about my personal life, but I have taken inspiration and I have made a character out of it. So for instance, in this book, the main character, the guy Siddharth, he's in both the books. So this guy's character development, that how he's a banker, he's in Dubai, he wants to do an MBA from the US, how his journey has been, failing GMAT for 2-3 times. So all that is me.
So I was actually about to ask that question because the character Siddharth is very interesting. I mean, my judgments kept aside on the character, which you know, but at the same time, the development, how the character has evolved, because I didn't really realize that the same character Siddharth was also part of your book 1, unless and until after this I read book 1. But then I see that he has grown a lot emotionally. There's been a huge transformation in this guy throughout the book, and this is something very relatable, just like any Indian guy. The way that we want them to grow, the expectations, the societal pressure, the family responsibilities, everything put together. So that is a great example which is extremely relatable to a lot of people. A good amount of population in India will relate to this guy. So when you were developing his character, now that you said that a lot of it was you, so now I'm confused as well here and there. But at the same time, how has this character development worked out for you? Like, if it is your personal experience, how was your personal growth? And if it is like a character alone we are talking about, then how did you actually put your thoughts together to get this person to actually grow?
So for me, 80% of this character, I again say, because I never fell in love with Alia, but she's my best friend, and I have used her love story, my character development, and created something. So whatever happens is I have shown from Alia's perspective, that is also true. That these things have happened, that how she had a boyfriend, how she had to like how she had to what do you say, the family struggles are there, she managed them, and she's from Jordan, and she lives in Dubai, she used to live in the hotel. So all those things are true. But then the character, if we talk about Siddharth, so yes, I remember I used to be very stupid when I was young. I would be like, like if someone talks to me very nicely for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, I'll be, oh, he likes me, and or he's the one, the butterflies will come and all that. But and I remember you can say I was very mature. Even though I studied from a good B school, and I was working in a bank and all, but personally I was very dumb. So, but all these emotional lessons, the personal understanding or whatever relationships I had, and it was not always romantic. It could have been like with friends or with best friends or family or cousins or something. And then slowly and steadily I So what used to happen, like in the beginning, I would be very sad. I would think a lot, and I would be very heartbroken, and I would waste my time thinking about all these stuff. But slowly and steadily, as I grew up, as I aged, I totally understand that love is important, but love is not everything. So that's why in this book, you will see that this character he loves this girl, but he's also very ambitious. He is not that, okay, if this girl is there and if she wants me to stay back in Dubai, I'm going to do that. He would try to balance. But in the end, his ambitions, his dreams are equally important. Because one of the things I learned from my heartbreak is that anyone can come, anyone can leave, but in the end, your career, your knowledge, your education is something that will remain with you.
Stay with you.
Yes. Like 10 years before, I remember I had told this, that I was dating someone. It was my engineering, and I got into IIM Indore, and that person got an MBA in Delhi. So we were fighting that it would be a long distance relationship. So he suggested, because he didn't have any, he didn't get into IIM Indore, but he got into a very good college back here in Delhi. So his suggestion, and I didn't get into that college. In Delhi, I got into decent colleges, but they didn't have that brand. So we were suggesting, discussing, and as per him, it was leave IIM, take this other college of Delhi so that we can be together. Then at a moment, and that time also I was stupid. But maybe that time when I thought about it, it came into me that I cannot trust. What if this person is not with me after 2 years or 3 years? I will not compromise on my dreams. Relationship is okay, I respect that, but I'm not gonna take risk on something that I have been dreaming since years. So I told him, I will do an MBA and it will be either with you or without you, but I'm not gonna leave my brand. And because I worked so much.
Of course, exactly.
To get into that college, I remember how I took a break of 6 months. And CAT, you can imagine the percentile, the pressure. And these days, people are just crazy about love, relationships. So through this novel, I'm also trying to say that love is okay, but also keep an eye on your dreams.
Don't be blind in love.
Yes. And I also feel that if someone loves you truly, he or she will always support your dreams.
Exactly.
You won't have to pick or choose.
Yes, exactly.
Like after my marriage, my husband wanted to, he was my classmate from IIM. He wanted to do a second MBA. We were in a long distance relationship for 3 years. Because COVID happened. I couldn't go and all that stuff. But still we managed. And there were no restrictions that, no, if you love me, just stay back. Or if you love me, come back to the US. Or so that's what I have learned. That in love, there is no boundaries.
I mean, that's great thought processes. I mean, that is true, because we see a lot of people doing that. They go, I mean, respect to the love. Even I would love to have a love life like that. But then, yes, if we are sacrificing everything that you have personally, what you are built for, what you are worked hard for, sacrificing your own self, then they need to definitely think about it again. So given that you were talking about love, I would also like to, I'm just curious and I would want to pick your brains on, in the book, you're talking about people from 2 different countries. So I'm definitely sure across the world, ultimately, what you feel in love is always going to be the same in some way or the other. But then again, I'm also sure that a lot of cultural differences, the upbringing that we are having, will also somehow impact the way that we actually perceive relationships, right? So in this book, you beautifully explored how Sid and Alia has been in a relationship. So these cultural differences, or do you have any perception in terms of, now you have a good exposure also, you lived in Dubai, you lived in US, you have friends from all over the world. So how do you perceive love generally? Like what we see sitting in India or what we experience, of course we see a lot of Hollywood, there's Bollywood giving us enough masala, but then at the same time, what has your real experience been like? Does love resonate to everybody in the same way?
I believe that this generation is coming up. Like for example, my mother, she's a typical Punjabi woman. While growing up, she would always say, first, love marriages are not allowed. And when I grew up more, she's like, okay, love marriages are allowed, but only if that guy is a Punjabi. How am I supposed to fall in love with a guy who's Punjabi? I cannot go taking out banner, okay, please, Punjabi guys.
Punjabis, please apply.
So, but I always thought, see, in the end, those two people have to live their lives together, and it should not concern anyone else. And as parents also, if I'm not saying that the person is a goon or he's not well-to-do, not well-to-do as in like he's into some drug smuggling and all, because love can happen with anyone. If he is respectable and he loves your daughter or a son, and you know that these two people will be happy, why are we bringing culture, religion, and all these boundaries into it? Because in the end, those are two people. I married a South Indian. I'm a Punjabi. Because in the end, I know he's the one whom I want to see at the end of the day. I am doing book tour and he's not able to join me, okay? And for hours, I went to Delhi University, Jaipur, or anyone. And there, people want to talk to me. And I had a fan movement also that I signed, autographed, and all. The moment I got free, I'm like, oh my God, when will he wake up? When will I tell him? I want to talk to him. And, still, he's the one with whom I want to go and spend my life. I am dying to go back to the US next week when we will meet and I will tell him everything.
Everything. There's a lot of things. I'm sure 1 minute is not going. You have to take an entire quota for sure.
So I keep on messaging him because he's very extremely busy. He's a consultant. He works 18 hours a day. And sometimes he will just give a heart. He doesn't have time to even message. But he says, please keep updating. And I love to see that. And whenever he gets a time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, we talk. Okay. So that's why I feel that if those two people are happy, let them be. Don't put your things like he's not from your culture, he's not from background. Because I feel that if I would have married someone from my religion, I don't feel that I would have been this happier. So, and for me, to be really honest, I do not believe in any religion. I am a Hindu because I was born into this family, but I totally respect everyone. My best friend is a Muslim. My other best friend, she's a Muslim from Pakistan. Another best friend, she is from Jordan. Okay. And so I have, and in my US, my best friend, he's from Africa. So I don't know. It is like, I don't have that barrier in my mind. So, and I personally believe that if they are happy, please let them be.
I can see how passionate you are about the work. Passionate you are about life in general. That's a great thing to see, actually. Well, again, I think this passion also really very clearly resonates into your book also, because the book is really emotionally heavy. I think I've had goosebumps, I've laughed, I've cried reading the book. And there are certain places also the book is really giving you a good impact. Like an example, like the final chapter. The last chapter, which is titled Final Chapter, that's very impactful. So, were you also getting emotional while you were writing this?
I was very emotional throughout because this character Alia, her real name is Ella. She's from Jordan. She lives in Dubai, and we used to live together in the same hotel. Because in the end, in my Dubai, I moved to a hotel because I thought that I don't want to get into lease contracts and all. So I had spent a lot of time with her. I feel that she's like my family. And now I moved to the US. There is time difference and everyone's busy. So I could not, we don't talk so regularly. I'll be meeting her day after tomorrow. But it's like previously it used to be daily because we used to live in the same hotel. We would chit chat on the terrace and all. So while writing, I also remembered her, our memories, and it was a very beautiful feeling. So there are some chapters that I wrote about my mother. I remember that that day it was evening when when my office got over, and I called my mom. And the first line, I'm like, "Mom, I miss you so much," because I wrote few chapters, the first few chapters that's based out of my childhood. And those are real things. Everything has happened in that same manner. Like my father got a heart attack, and that journey, whatever it was. So these were raw emotions that I have portrayed. And my mother was very shocked. What happened? Why are you saying? So I told. So it has been a very, very beautiful experience.
Lovely.
And that's why maybe it never felt tiring. So many times we did the editing. I remember the last edited version that I sent, it was 7th iteration or 8th iteration. And I work full-time crazily in a bank for 12 hours. And on top of that, my husband and I, we meet just 2 days a week. Still, I was able to lock myself in the weekend, worked for 22 hours for each iteration because we were working on very tight deadlines. So I had to visit the India before 30th one due to visa restrictions. So we were working very closely, but still that process was amazing. It brought so many memories. So I just love.
Wow. I mean, this is a lot of information for me also to take in. So is there, now that you've really poured out your heart into this book and you've created something amazingly beautiful, not just according to me, but to a lot of people who's been reading the book and putting out crazy reviews, is there any particular messages that you would want people to take away from the book? Is there something that you had in mind?
So I believe that love is important, and the way this book has been written, it is for anyone who has ever been in love or he wants to be in love, so that they can resonate. But specifically, those two characters are in their mid-20s. So this message that I would like to give, it would be for the young readers, because those two characters are also in their shoes, or vice versa, they are in their shoes. So this is the time when your ambitions, you have to follow that, because really the time fast. So like 10 years before, I remember going to DU and all these fests where people are telling, please be guest speaker and all. Just 10 years before I was in college. And I don't know where these 10 years have passed by. So this is the time, do fall in love, but also focus on ambitions, and if it is meant to be, it will come in any form. Maybe it will take time. These people have also gone through a lot of obstacles. But if you truly love someone, it will happen in the end. So I believe you should follow both.
Beautiful. That's a great message. Now, one last final question from my end to you. Now, I think I can tell that you've been a successful writer in your own ways. Let it be micro poetry, let it be in the form of a book. However, there are a lot of budding writers out there. Is there a message that you would want to give to them?
Yes, I would say that write for yourself. I never ever write for anyone else. So many times some of the people will say, why don't you write on this topic? Why don't you write on this topic? Or why don't you use this theme or that theme? But the thing is, I do not write for anyone. I write for my own self. It is like a healing thing, and it is a very beautiful thing that I cannot hold myself. Sometimes I have written 50 micro poems in half an hour.
Whoa!
Yes,
That's
and
a lot.
Those 50 poems, I won't expect that everyone would like those, right? And I will post few that will come. So I talk to a lot of people, the upcoming poets or authors and all, and they always keep on saying that we cannot take the feedback. The feedback is so negative. What do we do? Because when you are so focused about the feedback, you will never be able to bring out your art. So for art, you have to be first creative, honest to yourself, write something that you love, and then believe that it will resonate with people. And of course, there are billions and billions of people. Not everyone will be on the same chapter.
Of course.
And there will be feedback, criticism. So first try to understand that why these people are criticizing me.
Okay.
Second, I will say that if you feel that that person is helping you become a better artist,
Yes.
take that. Because you don't know, maybe their perspective could make you bestseller the next time.
Yes.
Like for instance, the first time I wrote my book, I got so many very positive reviews, but some people told it would have been better if you would have written more prose.
Okay.
So that I have used in this book.
Yes.
Now, I don't feel that all the people who would review will love it or say. So whatever reviews are there, I would go through it. And then I would try to see that, okay, will these reviews help me become a better artist? Then I will implement.
Yeah.
But I don't think that criticism is bad if you take it
constructively.
Like in jobs also we have appraisals, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it is helping you to become a better artist.
Of course.
So I feel that.
Interesting, nice.
And always write for yourself. That's it.
That's a beautiful message. Always write for yourself. I think there are multiple faces for people. It would be in multiple ways. So I'm somebody who believes that if I'm doing any job, I do only things that I love doing.
Yes.
I cannot take a job because it offers you good money. No, I can never do that. I think people resonates with that message in different ways, but that's a beautiful message to have. And I hope a lot of young writers, old writers also, who are writing who's new to writing technically, they actually get the good message and you help them some way or the other become successful in their own way possible.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming to Foster Talks today, Shuchi, and wishing you all the very best for You Belong With Me. I'm sure the book is going to be an amazing success. I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to all your events, your social media events, your offline events, whichever. I'm sure you still have a lot of photos to be posted.
Yes.
I'm waiting to see all of that and looking forward to seeing your future work as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today and
thank you.
have a great time ahead.
Thank you so much.